strong.
Alrighty everyone, welcome back to a much awaited return of Real Talks with Rish. This is episode 4. I know we had a bit of a bye last week, life just sort of got in the way. People were a bit busy, I was a bit busy, but we're back here with a very special guest. This man has been, I'd say, he's been a good friend of mine. I met him through a mutual friend. And I'm really just interested to hear his journey about fitness because, he's an absolute fitness freak. And so, welcome Michael, or as we call him, Pickle.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
That's all good, brother. So, I guess we'll just sort of jump straight into it, man. I'm really interested to hear, your background. So, what did you sort of study during school? I understand you grew up in Canberra. How was that?
Yeah, so born in Canberra here in Calvary Hospital. My first experience with any sort of sport or fitness would have probably been taekwondo. So I come from a martial arts background, started that when I was about 8. And I continued that on for about 10 years. So I got my black belt when I was 16, finished off when I was 18 when I started studying, wanted to branch out more. So sort of into early uni, started off with rugby, which my good friend Lockie introduced me to. I had no background at all, and he probably thought that I was a good fit for it because around high school and college and early uni I was actually a really big kid, so you probably hadn't had a chance to see me back then, but I peaked at around 120 kg at the end of high school. So I was a really big kid. I was
120 kilos.
120 kilos. Yeah,
damn, bro.
Last place in every cross country, which I dreaded. Really had a solid foundation for strength. Having done taekwondo, we do a lot of strength drills in that. Put me right in the front of the scrum in Westies. So that was really fun. I had a lot of fun running around, throwing the footy with Lockie and a lot of the other boys from school.
Yeah.
The Westies under 21 team back then was mostly people from my high school.
Yeah.
And through rugby, one of my seniors, whose name is Maddie, he was studying exercise science at the time, trying to be a personal trainer, and he got me and my mate Lockie onto a gym program for one of his assignments at uni. So I really got that was the start of my gym journey back in 2019, so 4 years ago.
Yeah, right. No, that's interesting, man. So you touched on a couple of things there. The first thing you touched on was that, I guess, having come from that sort of really big, bulky person, well, obviously I'd assume you were quite judged as well, being that big, that sort of got to your head. That sort of transformed your thinking to, going into fitness and going into martial arts, as you said earlier.
Yeah. So my personality back then was probably a lot more quiet kid. I was pretty self-conscious. I still am. But getting into the gym really allowed me to build up on my self-consciousness and gave me a bit of a switch in my mentality. Really, really got me into starting a routine, being disciplined with it, and really just falling in love with the process. Doing a fitness journey is a really long, slow grind where a lot of the stuff you get back you don't really get initially. So it was really a lot of my gym journey was just falling in love with the slow grind that it really is, and it's really fulfilling in the end. So with gym, what you put into it, you're gonna get out in the long term.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. And I think that really goes for a lot of aspects in life, really. If you want to apply that to the workforce, the people that are really great at what they do have spent years and years of training, right? And I think that sort of resonates with me a little bit, where I'd say my sort of fitness journey has sort of been consistent and inconsistent at times. Like we're still in our early 20s, and I always have patches where I'm like, yeah, I want to train hard, I want to get big, I want to put on a bit of muscle. But I was always a skinny kid, man, in high school. I still am, quite skinny, but I definitely feel like I put on a bit of size to what I was on before. Like I said, I'm like got that average sort of weight range for my age. But yeah, I think it's interesting because if you have that mindset or that driven mentality that you want to get to a specific, I guess, weight class or a specific, muscle group or whatever, like nothing can really stop you. So I know, man, that's really admirable there. So I think, just sort of, we'll move on to something else, and that's, I guess, your sort of friend circle growing up. So, well, my first question is, like, have you always sort of, I guess, been around the same people that you are today, back, in high school and primary school?
Definitely, my friendship group from high school, I've stuck through till now. Like, those are the closest people that I have in my life. But through doing all these different activities like rugby and going to the gym, I've definitely branched out and made a lot more friends. I've been introduced to a lot more like circles of different communities that I've really latched onto and that I really love. In high school, I was a gamer growing up. Still am, and not
Got
gonna
out of
deny
your
that.
Discord, brother. I just got onto it myself.
Exactly. But yeah, a lot more introverted people that I grew up with. I wasn't really the sporty kid growing up, so I was with a lot more people who liked to just go to the movies, chill on the computer, didn't really go out too much. But now I've made some of my best friends through gym who I hang out with a lot as well.
That's mad, bro. Yeah, that's really interesting because, obviously we know quite a few mutual friends as well, and I think a lot of them as well were the same as you. I'd say I was pretty extroverted, like in a way where, I said in my first podcast, but I never had one specific friends group. Like I always sort of went from, I guess, yeah, the popular kids in high school to like the nerds in like college and probably year 10. And I was really great that I sort of experienced all that because that sort of shaped up who my personality is as well. So yeah, like I work in cybersecurity and I also do like consulting, but I also, do the podcast. I even do part-time acting as well. So for me, it's like I'm sort of coming to that stage where, and I don't know if you agree or not, but like where I just want to try to do everything possible.
Exactly. Like even coming on this show here was a step out of my comfort zone. I haven't done anything like this before, and a lot of the things that I've like said yes to in my life have like just given me a broader skill set to use like later in life, which I'm so happy for. Like I wouldn't have been introduced to like strength training and strength sports if I hadn't said yes to my mate introducing me to rugby back in the day.
Yeah, it's funny how things work out, eh?
Yeah.
So, that's interesting, man. So I think, one thing that you do touch on is having a good friend circle, and I guess, carrying that through to today. How has it been growing up in Canberra?
Growing up in Canberra, I feel like Canberra's a very small community compared to the other like big cities. So I feel like you'll know someone on the other side of Canberra just through one person. Like I've met a lot of friendship groups based down in Tuggeranong. I'm from Gungahlin, just through other people halfway down. So I feel like I know other people aren't too far away.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. I think, I sort of find it boring at times, not gonna lie. Like, I think there's two sides to Canberra. I think if you're in a relationship and you have someone, it's pretty good because then everything's so close, and you're very settled down. But if you're single and, I guess, you want to go out and have fun, it's probably not the best city compared to, like, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane.
But then again, if you want to spend the weekend down in Sydney or Melbourne, it's pretty easy to get to.
You can just do that.
Hours away.
Yeah, that's true, man. Yeah. So, no, that's interesting, man. Like, for me, it's like I've really I'm at that stage now where I really want to prioritize my career, like as opposed to, not necessarily like friends or like social group, but that's what my main focus is at the moment. Sort of to do with Like, what's your sort of views on like partying and like going out and stuff? Like, cause I don't know. For me, it's like as I'm getting older now, I'm sort of like that sort of aspect is sort of like deteriorating a little bit. Like I'll still go out to bars and stuff and like talk to people and stuff. But in terms of like clubbing and going out and all that, I'm sort of like at that stage where it's just like, yeah, I don't know. It's just I feel like maybe I'm just saying that because like I just feel like I'm like 50 years old.
It's definitely an exciting thing, like in like early uni, late, just outside of college.
Yeah.
Is getting to expose yourself to the nightlife.
Yeah.
I feel like Canberra's nightlife isn't as exciting as the other big cities, but definitely transitioning to become more like a bar person myself as my circles get tighter. I'm less motivated to just go out and meet other people. I've already probably established like a group that I'm comfortable with, so I feel like a lot more intimate like experiences like dining with your mates, just like having a small intimate
gathering
every now and then just to catch up is definitely
good.
what I'm looking to do now.
Yeah, 100%, man. So I definitely agree with that. So I guess just touch on, because you're still so young, you're probably like it's the same age, like 24, 25. So are you still studying at the moment? Like, what are you studying and how's that going for you?
Yeah, so I'm on the last year of my master's degree. I'm doing optometry, which I'm fallen in love with. I feel like it's a good career for me, just because I like having a very routine schedule, which might sound weird to other people, but I feel like having like a decent 9 to 5 and then having a hobby to focus the rest of your time on would be something ideal for me. I'm really into like strength training, and I've just started competing in powerlifting recently. So
yeah, that's crazy.
Just having a routine 9 to 5 and not having to focus on work outside of like the times that you're in the office or in the clinic really just lets you focus on the other things that you're passionate about. I feel like finding individuality in your hobbies or like a really good career is something that a lot of people can get a lot out of.
Yeah, man, 100%. Yeah, that's really great as well. How you are studying optometry and you're at that master's level as well. And I know it can be a bit draining at times with the amount of study you probably have to do.
Exactly.
And the time you got to put in. But as you said, you're really passionate about it, and that's all that really matters, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
One of my big things that I've learnt while juggling like uni and my hobbies is just finding that work-life balance. Like the reason that I've really started focusing on having a routine schedule is it can be hard to find the time to go out and visit your family while you're focusing on like your career and all the other things that you're committed to. So like really setting a time to do your productive commitments as well as your leisure time is something that I've been focusing on.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's 100%. I think definitely my sort of mindset. Having a lot of time now recently, over the past couple of months, sort of really, it just made me realize what I sort of want to prioritize in life. And yeah, I think it's really good that you're passionate about something that you're doing, because I feel like a lot of people at uni, they're just studying for the sake of doing a degree. Do you know what I mean?
Just want a big fancy piece of paper to hang on.
Yeah, that's it, man. Yeah, 100%, bro. Yeah, and to be honest, like, I mean, originally that was sort of what I guess, because my family's like, I guess, traditional in the sense that they grew up having a very strong education. They want their kids to be educated and go to university and stuff. And so we were sort of, I guess, taught in that environment. But now as you get older, you realize that you don't necessarily need to go to university to get quote unquote a good job, or like to quote unquote do all right in life. But no, I respect that, man. And also, I think in my situation as well, it's like I studied commerce, I did a degree undergraduate in finance and international business, but ended up working in cyber. So it's very interesting because I feel like the biggest thing that uni taught me out of everything was how to write and also how to communicate, like in social environments. So I think those were the two biggest skills that it sort of taught me.
Exactly. Even if like the content that you're learning in your degree may or may not translate to what you end up doing later in life. You still retain a lot of those skills that you get through uni. Like, in the end, like uni isn't about like the number that you get on the piece of paper at the end of the whole cycle, but it's really about what you absorb and the skills that you retain that you can then translate to whatever you're doing later.
Yeah, for real, man, for real, 100%. You hit that like nail on the head. So is Optom like what your end game is? Like, is that what the line of work you want to go into? Is that sort of your dream, I guess? Pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, I definitely grew up. I grew up like having a need to wear glasses, and I know the feeling of getting your glasses for the first time it's mind blowing. Like getting your vision corrected.
Yeah.
Just like, whoa, this is how everyone else is seeing the world, and I haven't been experiencing that. It's just like a mind blowing experience, and like providing a healthcare service where I can expose other people to that feeling would be something that I imagine to be pretty fulfilling.
Yeah.
But then I also know that there's the business aspect of things. Like what I've learned a lot from my seniors is that in a lot of like commercial optometry, it's a lot less about providing people with like healthcare, and it's more focused on just selling products. But through the areas that I'm focusing on are like myopia control, so making sure like children's vision doesn't get worse as they grow up, as well as like contact lenses, two areas which I feel I can like really establish a good relationship with the patients that I see. And from what I hear from my seniors is that patients who see for contact lenses tend to be patients that you have for life and you become really good friends with. So that's what I'm looking forward to in the future.
Yeah, I really love that element where you really touched on helping people, right? Genuinely. Because I think I saw this video the other day, and it was like blind people seeing for the first time, using some sort of, I think it was like an AI, some sort of like AI algorithm or something that was in. It was some futuristic stuff. Anyway, so like these blind people, they could see and their reactions were just priceless, man.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Life-changing experience.
Yeah. No, that's really good, man. And I find real value in really understanding when people come on the podcast and just really understanding why they do what they do, because having a why is really critical to any aspect in life, right?
Exactly.
Because I guess for me it's like I don't really. And people are different. Like some people love buying clothes, buying cars, buying houses and stuff. And for me, it's like I'm sort of coming to that time, right? Because I'm, as I said sort of earlier, I'm really touching back on the spiritual side of my religion, Hinduism. And one thing I've realized is just meditating in general, which is something that I've been practicing, over the last, I'd say, month, really, for 4 weeks, is that it just really brings to the center of what you really want. And I just want to get your opinion, man. Like, what's your aspect on, I guess, the materialistic world?
The materialistic world. Well, definitely, growing up through high school, I really did care about how other people viewed me. I would think that if I had this kind of style, if I had this kind of physique, then people would respect me and accept me more. I do also think that how you present yourself is an expression of what your interests are as well. But it definitely the materials that you own shouldn't really define who you are in the end, but it is a method which you can express yourself with.
Yeah, I love that, man. I don't think anyone sort of said it that way, but I definitely think that's the case as well, for sure. I'll be honest, man, my fashion game has been out of whack since, even since high school and stuff, but I think I do really resonate with that, where you say, I guess what you wear and the clothes you wear and the shoes you wear, it's sort of a representation of how you feel and your identity in a way.
Exactly. With what I guess I'm trying to say is with the materialistic aspect of yourself, you shouldn't be trying to change yourself for other people. You should really just try to present yourself in the way that you want to be presented.
Yeah.
Because you care about how other people think you look.
Yeah.
What your tattoos can say about you can like say a lot about your background, um, what your interests are, who you listen to, your favorite artists,
Yeah.
which can be like a really, which can be part of your identity and shape your identity.
And it's a great way to meet people as well at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah, so no, I'll respect that, man. So yeah, you touched on exactly what I was going to talk about next, but that was more, I guess, music. So I sort of take you as a little bit of an all-star sort of music person. You really just listen to sort of all sorts of artists from all sorts of walks around the world.
Yeah, I do. Recently it's just been a mix of like house music.
Oh yeah, right.
I've been really getting back into my old school hip hop like Gangsta. Quasimoto.
We going way back.
Yeah, also just like when I'm in the gym, I'll be listening to like metal and anime remixes of trap beats and my Spotify for you is gonna be the most ridiculous.
Yeah, I love that.
I had like a K-pop phase as well.
I've
been exposed to like a lot of different sounds.
Is that still pop, like K-pop? Because I know, like, I think a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, that was such a big thing.
It was a big boom in Western culture.
Yeah.
A lot of like Western countries started to get drawn into it, and a lot of the music K-pop has just really become pop.
Yeah.
Like all the Korean artists like BTS. A lot of their music is just in full English now because of how big their Western audience is now.
So that's interesting. So do you feel that, I guess, because I don't know that much information about K-pop, and I'm pretty sure you know more than me. So, like, do you feel like, I guess, artists like BTS, how they're translating their songs to like full English now? Originally, it was just full Korean, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
So my sort of train of thought is, even like, you know me, like I'm a huge Weekend fan. Like I've never been to a music festival ever. I don't know, they just don't really appeal to me. But if I was to go to one music festival, it'll be when my boy Aiden comes to Australia. So I definitely mess with him. And I feel like sort of linking back to the Weekend style of music. If you look at his original roots back in like 2012, 2013, Kissland, Trilogy, House of Balloons, they were very intimate and very like raw in terms of the lyrics he was saying, and it was almost like it was a journey of his life. You know, obviously he came from, you know, very humble beginnings, you know, living in social housing, you know, going, I guess, the wrong way in society, and then sort of bringing it back with his mate Lamar Taylor, who he's still really good mates with.
Yeah.
I feel like now, obviously he's got a TV show, but what my point is that I feel like a lot of artists now are doing music in the commercial sense, like what brings in the numbers, and they're sort of taking away what they originally different at.
Exactly. What I really appreciate is when artists have an established career, they write about what they've learned and how they've grown up. But yeah, it is sad to see when artists just like look at what's trending and try to adapt to that sort of style.
Yeah.
Which can be a misrepresentation of the culture that music is intending to show.
No, 100%, man. And I think, you know, at the same time, I just think that like that's just the game these days as well. Like, there's not much, you know, we can do about it apart from just like listen to music. Because my brother, he's also a DJ as well, and he's telling me as well, like, even DJs as well, they just like the likes like Martin Garrix. You know, those guys, when they were younger in their primes, like even when Animal was dropped, like they were very different in terms of their style of music. But now most of these house DJs all sort of sound the same because they just want to, not necessarily put in like less work, but like just have people just do stuff for them, and then they just are the face of the brand, which is what I feel like is happening these days. Yeah, so no, like that's interesting, man. So you know, I guess next thing I just want to sort of touch on is, have you sort of, I guess, like dived into like any sort of meditation practice or like spirituality? Like, do you like sort of follow a faith or?
Currently, I'm not really practicing a faith.
Yeah, sure.
My family comes from an Anglican background, which I've definitely learned a lot of. The main things that I've taken from that is just like how to treat other people. But no, I'm not currently practicing anything on the spiritual side.
Yeah.
I do really respect the practice of meditation though, just like being able to have full control of your body and your thoughts is something that I really want to get into. It's really as like a way to relieve stress and a way to reflect on yourself is something that I want to get more skilled at. So definitely looking to see your input on meditation. Like, when did you first start like really practicing meditation? How do you feel like it's changed your life?
Yeah, interesting question, man. I'm by no means like a master or like even good at it. I'm just starting out myself. But I'd say for me, it's like, it comes from, I guess, because if you look at if you look at spirituality and I guess in terms of like yoga practices, it sort of ties into what my family believe in, like Hinduism, and obviously I do practice being Hindu, so it ties into that. So for me, it's more, I guess, diving into like the scripture books of like the gods I believe in, and just not really like, I guess the biggest thing with meditation is you don't really need to have a set way of doing it. You just need to just, I guess, put yourself, turn the technology off, and just sit in a room and just be in a silent room and just close your eyes and just breathe. That's the biggest thing. So for me, breath work is probably the number one thing that I had to, and I'm still learning how to do it. So that's taking deep breaths, just watching a YouTube video on some breath work and just following that. And that really centers you. Like, it just really just makes you go into like a different, for me, it's just a different mindset. Like, I literally forget about everything that's going on. So for me, it started off with that. And then obviously, like, I kept building up. And my mum as well, she's also really into yoga. And so that also helped. Like, I'm not doing yoga, so to say, but just the spiritual side of like what she told me, some of the practices that I'm trying to like sort of implement as well, has really helped me. Because one of my biggest weaknesses is that I've always sort of thought not rationally, but I've been pretty erratic at times in terms of like my thought processes and like making decisions sometimes. Generally, I'm pretty good at making decisions, like I take my time. But one of the things that I wanted to learn is controlling my emotions, which I feel like a lot of people are struggling with, including myself. So that was the biggest premise of why I did meditation. And yeah, I hope that sort of answers your question.
Yeah. Has meditation like really affected your life outside of practicing it? Like, have you noticed that it's like a good way to like kick off the rest of your day, or how do you feel like it's affected like your lifestyle outside of practicing?
Yeah, great question, man. I think for me, it's like it definitely has affected, I guess, in terms of it's affected more on like what my brain being switched on 24/7. It's calmed it down a lot, so I can just go about my day, take my time with things, and realize that for the biggest thing for me is that I've realized that there's a lot of people in the world that have it a lot worse than what I do. Like, we've all gone through, bad things in life, bad stuff, and I had a pretty, I guess, last probably like March, April were pretty bad months for me, I guess, professionally. So that's really what made me go back into meditation. Like, I guess if you have like a bad experience happen to you, then you sort of want to find why is this happening to me? Like, what's going on? And that's why I touched on meditation. And that's really calmed me down and really made me understand that, things are not bad. Like, everything sort of happens for a reason. And I think that's another premise of why I do.
Yeah, and going on with using meditation as a means to like put a pause on like your head constantly firing. Yes, it doesn't help like in the modern day where we're stuck in our phones, infinitely scrolling through Instagram Reels, TikTok, short form content where like they're trying by any means to keep you glued to the screen.
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel like short form content has affected like productivity and like the lifestyle of like yourself?
Yeah, man, that's great. I think for me, it's like, one thing that I've realized is that how insane information is these days. Like, with ChatGPT coming out, the new version just coming out, and as I'm sure you've realized, if you're speaking about something and you scroll through social media, that same thing pops up, right? So it's interesting. I think short form media, to answer your question, it's almost, and this is going to sound pretty out there, but my view is that it's almost controlling our minds in a way until we learn how to detach from it. So, I'll go into more detail what I mean by that. So what I mean by that is like, your thought processes of what you sort of feel or you desire in the world, or what you're thinking. Obviously, you're gonna type on your phone on Google like things related to that. So if you're gaming, you're gonna be typing up, I guess, gaming stuff and stuff like that. If you're gymming, you're gonna be typing up. You're looking at like people gymming.
Exactly, and your like social media will give you targeted content towards that.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that's a bad thing, because that is in itself an invasion of privacy, right? Because the internet, or like they've got all the information on you. So that's why I think, how has it affected me? It's affected me in that I don't like it how all these algorithms know what you're thinking about, and sometimes you don't even know if they're gonna be listening into what you're talking about as well. But I feel like that's why it's important to just detach from technology, full stop. Because I've got a mate, he's like one of those people where no matter how much things are going on in life, and he's probably he's doing really well, I guess, if you want to look at it professionally as well. But he's one of those guys that you could have like 1,000 things going at him, and he'll still be the same centered person ever. It's crazy. Like I've never met like a person like him, and that's why I'm just always whenever we hang out, I'm always picking his brain about because he's into meditation as well. Like, how are you doing it, man? What's going on? And then he just explains to me what he does, and then I sort of try and implement it myself as well.
It's really cool how you can stay to your own individuality when exposed to all these different kinds of content being fired at you, trying to influence you and change your mindset. But I really admire that he's able to say himself.
Yeah,
he must have really strong discipline.
He does, yeah. So how do you feel about that? Like the whole short form content, I guess knowing information about you and stuff like that.
I've definitely been exposed to a lot. I'm very guilty of wasting a lot of time in bed in the morning, just scrolling infinitely on my phone. But I've definitely tried to stay away from it now.
Yeah.
I've really tried to really only have a certain time of the day to be exposed to all that content. I've tried changing my rearrangement in my home, so I don't sleep with my phone at my nightstand anymore. I put it in a separate room.
Yes.
Unless I've got a lamp, I've just got it on my desk away from my bed, just so I'm forced to get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, sweet.
I've noticed my sleep getting a lot better because of it. I've really started to implant in my head that in bed, the only thing that you should be doing is getting rest. I really tried to stop reading, eating, scrolling, associating bedtime with activity. So I really feel it's helped a lot in my rest and my recovery for gym, because sleep is one of the biggest things that I neglected for gym, because most of your recovery is done while sleeping. Most of your muscle building is done while you're resting. So I really tried to switch the styles over to resting and recovery in my routine as well.
Yeah, I need to do that, man. It's huge respect to you. I still always, I'm on my phone scrolling, just messages at night, and you're right, it's so bad, because then I realise when I can't sleep or have patchy sleep, it's because I've been on my phone for so long. So that's it. I think I really need to do that, and that's really that's good, man. That's good you're doing it for sure. Cool, brother. So, I think, we'll sort of wrap it up there. It's been a great chat with you, brother, Michael.
Likewise.
And I think, hopefully you guys have gained a lot from this conversation. We touched on a couple of aspects of, friend circle, obviously Michael's gym routine, and how, his past has sort of led him to becoming the person that he is today. Touched on a bit of sleep schedule there. So, thanks for watching, everyone. Please subscribe to Real Talks with Rish, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.